Okay, so Payday 3's 9th update released a couple of weeks ago, and after giving it some time to breathe, getting stuck into it myself, and of course with some of you on stream, I'm ready to share my thoughts on Payday 3's most content-heavy update so far. The renaming of DLC 3 from Land of the Free to Houston Breakout seemed rather inevitable. Let's face it, Starbreeze would have been crazy to pass up a Houston Breakout opportunity in Payday 3, and the leaks that DLC 3 would be set in a courthouse pretty much gave it away. But you know what? I'm here for it. So how is the new heist? Well, it's pretty damn good. In Loud, you make your way through the courthouse and disable the lockdown protocol to gain access to the courtroom where Houston is being held trial. From there, you'll use the thermal drill to break him out before escorting him to the center of the building to escape via an airlift. Houston has a couple of paths he can take, which is a real step in the right direction when it comes to heist randomization, but that's not where the heist ends. You see, Houston isn't safe just yet. We need to get rid of all that falsified evidence that the court has on him. This is where another element of heist randomization really shines through, as you'll either need to secure a server or some physical evidence, and depending on which type of evidence you need to secure, you'll be sent to a different area of the map. These areas actually have a genuinely different enough feel to them that subsequent playthroughs feel less repetitive. Once you're in one of the two evidence rooms, you're going to be given the choice of sifting through all of the evidence to find the ones pertaining to Houston's case using an evidence scanner, or if you're looking to get out of there as quickly as possible, you have the option to destroy all of the evidence instead for a reduced payout. To destroy all of the evidence, you'll either need to use a fuel tank if you have the physical evidence, or an EMP device if you have the digital evidence, to either burn down the evidence room and destroy all of the evidence within it, or fry all of the servers. While this is a great example of player choice, I rarely find myself destroying the evidence and pretty much always opt to secure as much of it as I can, because holding out in the evidence rooms and fighting off what at this point in the heist is likely the final endless assault wave is one of the best segments of gameplay that Payday 3 has to offer right now. Once you've handled the evidence in whatever way you deem fit, it's time to escape back in the center of the map. Flipping the script on its head, if you instead decide to tackle the heist in stealth, you'll be getting one of the most engaging and challenging stealth heists in the game. In my opinion, this is an opinion warning here. Without going through every single objective, because I really believe that this heist's stealth gameplay is something worth experiencing for yourself firsthand, the general overview is sneak into the courthouse, pass some metal detectors, find Houston, blackmail the judge in order to cause a recess, then sneak Houston out of his holding cell, of course grabbing the evidence on the way out. Besides a few irritating solo objectives like disabling the metal detectors, Houston Breakout is rapidly becoming one of my favorite heists to stealth. It has its flaws, biggest being that Houston himself is barely in the heist, but from the atmosphere to the level design, even the early stages of heist randomization, Houston Breakout is a great heist. Although not much happens narratively, besides obviously us breaking Houston out, the final cinematic does a pretty decent job of setting up the Fear and Greed DLC. The Tailor pack adds some new outfits, gloves, and masks. While they thematically fit the DLC, they aren't exactly anything to write home about. The same can't be said, however, for the weapon pack. Focusing on burst fire weapons, the Chanit assault rifle and Picodoro pistol are great fun to use, but pale in comparison to the M7 Pursuivant shotgun that is currently up there as one of the best weapons in the game right now. Oh, and of course, a weapon pack wouldn't be complete without a sticker and a charm, so of course we've got the Gavel sticker and Free Country charm too. Houston himself is of course noticeably missing from this update, with very little explanation given to justify his absence, other than a few throwaway lines about him breaking his hands while in prison, though we now know that he'll be a free addition alongside DLC 4 Fear and Greed. Better late than never, I guess. I'd personally love to see the Houston heister locked behind the completion of the Houston Breakout heist. Try say that one 10 times fast. But of course this is unlikely to happen as it's a paid DLC and therefore not everybody can play the heist without either squadding up with somebody or paying for it themselves. However, there is one way that I could see this working. Perhaps Starbreeze allows everybody, regardless of whether or not you own the DLC, to play the Houston Breakout heist once to completion, and therefore unlock Houston. I think this would not only be a good way of locking Houston behind the Houston Breakout heist and giving its completion a tangible reward other than just cash, but also it would be a great way to let more non-DLC owners try the heist. This would obviously be a massive win for the player base, as non-DLC owners would then get to play the heist, but it would also probably be a win for Starbreeze, as I can imagine some of those non-DLC owners who get to play the heist would in turn pick up the DLC after they've played it that one time. Before you head to the comment section and call me insane saying that Starbreeze would never do something like that, let me remind you that they actually have. That was how Payday 2's career mode worked. If you got to a particular heist in the Payday 2 career mode, say Scarface Mansion for example, and you didn't own that DLC pack, you would be able to play it once to complete that career mode mission and progress through the career mode. Again, regardless of whether or not you owned the heist. This is something that I think would go a long way for Payday 3 and could even be expanded upon in the future so that every DLC heist could be playable once without owning the DLC, and therefore new players can figure out which heists they wanted to buy versus which ones they maybe wanted to skip out on. Perhaps when a DLC comes out, the previous DLC becomes playable once. Let me know what you think of this system in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, consider clicking that subscribe button. Speaking of free-to-play heists, it's about time we take a look at Payday 3's very first all-original free heist, Diamond District. They have cooked here. While a little less exciting when it comes to objective types, because at the end of the day, Diamond District simply boils down to steal as much loot as you can, it certainly isn't a heist to overlook. This is typically where I'd break down how the heist plays in both loud and stealth, but honestly, Diamond District gives you so much freedom to approach the heist however you see fit. If you wanted to start the heist in stealth and break out into loud halfway through, not much about your objective changes at all. In fact, this heist lends itself perfectly to starting in stealth and going loud later. Thanks to varying layouts, each store provides a unique set of challenges to tackle, and you can even influence the map yourself by opening and closing store shutters to block off enemies, or just hide yourself if you haven't raised the alarm yet. Most stores have a vault that you can break into, either by finding a passcode, taking the store manager for an iris scan, or just going classic Payday and burning your way in. This is an intricately designed heist, and I think you could easily argue the best one in the game right now. When it was first revealed, Diamond District was said to have a brand new system that would aid the player in crossing the street, which understandably piqued my interest, but it turns out that that system was just the ability to pump smoke through the sewers to provide some extra cover. A little underwhelming if you ask me, but overall a fantastic heist. Definitely the highlight of this update. And of course, let's not forget that it's completely free. Other free content in this update includes the Tribune 32 machine pistol. It's very nice to have a new type of secondary weapon in the game, but it really doesn't do much to dethrone the bull kick as the strongest secondary in the game right now. We also got the new Gadget, the Trip Laser, which is a way to mark enemies and civilians that never runs out of charges. It's great to bring on heists like Cook-Off and complements any assassin build perfectly. It's a little buggy, but we'll get to that later. There are 3 new free masks, the Crime Scene, Feeding Time, and Perjury masks, which again all fit the Houston Breakout theme. We also got the Shakedown Shark mask, the reward from the Mask Mania event. I've seen a few people surprised that we aren't yet able to unlock the other masks from the event, but remember those are coming alongside the hardcore challenges system, which is not a part of this update, nor seemingly the next one, or the one after that. I'm quite disappointed that we seemingly have to wait until November at the earliest to get the other 3 masks, but then again, I guess that was the whole point of the Mask Mania event, to give us a chance of unlocking them early. Speaking of cosmetic unlocks, there's a brand new set of Twitch drops running, giving you the chance to unlock the Ben's mask, the Beach Party charm, and an assortment of summer-themed stickers. Also, the Alienware mask that was released as a collaboration a few weeks back has now been updated so that it actually glows, and I have to say, I'm a fan. I just wish there was a way we could customize presets, but anyway, the Assassin's Mettle skill has been buffed so that it now allows you to heal even if you have 1 armor chunk, or less of course, but for a reduced amount of health, which is a nice buff to the skill, but the numbers seem so low that you barely feel the skill working unless you're in very specific scenarios. And of course, a Payday 3 update wouldn't be complete without some Operation Medic Bag changes, would it? We've got the brand new Consumables System that lets you carry a handful of either first aid or armor repair kits in your inventory and use them straight from your inventory or drop them for a teammate. This is a great system, but I often forget to use it. It's worth noting for those console heisters out there that the Consumables System has taken the place of the overkill weapon on the D-pad, so you now call in your overkill weapon by holding down Y or triangle depending on your platform. The daily challenges system has finally made its way into the game, allowing us to earn up to 90 C-stacks a day. For the most part, the challenges range from okay to downright annoying, but there's one or two good ones in there too. This system was originally supposed to release alongside Mask of the Week, but as it didn't, the masks had their price reduced from 200 C-stacks to 100 C-stacks. It was said that the price would increase to 200 when the daily challenges system actually arrived, but it seems like Starbreeze have completely forgotten about that. Perhaps the price will be 200 for the next set of masks. The animations team have once again absolutely cooked, not just with the inspect animations for the 4 new weapons, but they've also whipped up some great in-heist interaction animations and some animations for the communication wheel too, so that you can take out your frustration on those guards at the beginning of Houston Breakout. I've been very positive about this update so far in this video because I think it's a genuinely fantastic addition to the game, but of course, Update 9 certainly isn't without its issues. From Houston Breakout having multiple softlocks to audio issues associated with the trip laser, Update 9 is probably the buggiest update we've had so far. I can't comment too much on the softlocking as I'm actually yet to experience that myself, but the audio issues, I have indeed heard them. Apparently they're tied to the trip laser, so perhaps using a different gadget will help for now, but I really hope that these are simple issues to fix and they can be taken care of in the next update. Potentially unrelated to this update, but I did also experience a soul-crushing hard reset while streaming Cook-Off recently. We were literally one bag away from 19 perfectly cooked bags on Overkill until this happened. Oh, and listen out for the audio issues, they are quite noticeable in this clip. Okay. This is awful. This is... No! 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 I was lost for words. Well, almost lost for words. I quite clearly remembered that the word no existed. Again, I don't necessarily know if that issue is related to Update 9 or something that's been in the game for a while, but just be warned if you're going for the Kiss the Chef challenge. All in all, Update 9 is a really solid addition to the game. It ups the bar from Boys in Blue with the addition of both a paid and free heist, both of which are great, one of which, dare I say, the best heist in the game right now. It's not without its bugs and flaws, sure, but it's by far the most content-rich update the game has had to date. I think it's worth reinstalling the game for Diamond District alone, and if you do decide to reinstall the game this weekend, there's a 50% weapon XP boost running, so you can put an extra dent in the levels of those new guns. This week's blog post was an interview with Derek Ray, who voices Houston. He was asked some really interesting questions like what goes first, cereal or milk? Do you prefer cake or ice cream? And do you like hurting people? What on earth is this blog post? Anyway, in much more exciting and interesting news, last week we were given an overview of the next 2 updates coming in September and October. We were also shown a quick peek at the next heist, Fear and Greed, and as well, we were told about the next new overkill weapon. If any of that sounds interesting to you, click the video on screen now and I'll see you in the next video.